Hello students. The last video that I have for you is one concerning a subject called parallelism. If you understand what parallel means, it is when things run side by side. They don't intersect, they just could continue forever going side by side. And they are pretty much alike. When you are constructing a sentence and you have items in a series, those items need to be constructed just alike. When you begin to write your thesis statement for the research paper that you will do, it will be very important for that thesis statement to contain parallel structure. It is not a complicated concept, but it is one that seems to give students some difficulty, so I'm hoping that this will help some. When you look at it in a very simple sentence like this, popular exercises include spinning, weights, and running. Now you look at this and you see that these three words, spinning, weights, and running, are not parallel because one of them is an ing form of the verb, another one is an ing form of the verb, and this is just a regular noun. So how could we make this parallel? How can we make this to where all three are constructed alike? Well, the best way is simply to, since we've already got two that end in ing, what if we said popular exercises include spinning, weightlifting, and running. Then we have solved the parallel crisis. When you're writing a thesis statement, you will state a fact that you believe to be true, and then you are going to support that fact with three clauses or three phrases after that. By doing that, by coming up with a good thesis statement that states the fact and has your 3 points there, you have already organized your paper, because you will have an introduction. You can take each of these 3 points and make a paragraph on each one of those points, at least one paragraph. You can do 2, and then you have a conclusion. So writing the thesis statement is truly the most important part of your paper, but it's also important to construct it in such a way that it is parallel. Let's look at this sentence. Texting while driving, and I left out a word, is dangerous because it distracts the driver, it annoys the passengers, and accidents. So, it's very easy to tell here that this is not parallel. The other two, you've got a subject and you've got a verb. You have a subject and you have a verb. But then in this, you just got a one word. You just got a noun. Texting while driving is dangerous because it distracts the driver, it annoys the passengers, and it causes accidents. Then they're all alike. Let's look at this one. Many residents of poor nations lack adequate housing, sufficient food, and their water is contaminated. So we've got 3 points right here. We've got adequate housing, we have sufficient food, and then all of a sudden we write a complete sentence here. Their water is contaminated. So this would be very easy to fix. Adequate housing, sufficient food, and contaminated water. And I think what we would need to say is because they lack pure water. So now it's parallel. Many residents of poor nations lack adequate housing, sufficient food, and pure water. Those are the 3 things that they lack. So when you're writing a research paper, this will be something that you and I will work together. I will let you write your thesis statement and send it to me, and we will work on it together until it gets the way it's supposed to be. Another thing we'll do is that we will post these thesis statements on the discussion board and let your fellow students also give you some help as well. This is the most crucial part of writing that research paper, is getting the thesis statement and getting it written in a parallel form. Once you've done that, your paper is organized, you're ready to go, and it will really not take you nearly as long as you think it will once this is done. But it must be parallel in order to be grammatically correct. I have a quiz on this subject that I hope you will go to now. And again, please call me or email me if you have any questions.